Hey everyone, today we're pulling back the curtain and taking a look at the rumored Resident Evil 4 remake. Nintendo is shutting down the Wii U and 3DS eShop, plus video games continue to invade the film and TV space. All that and more on this edition of the Dear Listeners Newsroom. What's up everybody, welcome to the Dear Listeners Newsroom, TRG's weekly news recap. My name is Micah Hendrick, and here are the top headlines for February 18th, 2022. I was wrestling with myself last week about whether or not to bring this topic to DL Newsroom, but since we have some interesting developments from Capcom themselves, let's go ahead and dive in this week. Okay, let's start off with Imran Khan's story over on fanbyte.com, which has tons of fascinating nuggets if you want to head on over there and read the full story. According to multiple Fanbyte sources, the long-rumored Resident Evil 4 remake has changed developers and shifted the overall tone since the project first began. The game began development with M2, a studio created by former Capcom and Platinum Games talent. Apparently, Capcom had hoped to entice original Resident Evil 4 director Shinji Mikami to helm the game alongside old friend Tatsuya Minami. Mikami, however, eventually turned down the proposal, citing needs at his current studio, Tango Gameworks. Since that prospect fell through, Capcom shifted development to the team that crafted the remake for Resident Evil 2. Given RE2 Remake's success, the team is reportedly shifting the tone of the game to more align with early Resident Evil 4 GameCube demos, which showed Leon searching through a dark castle. Indeed, the famous village scene toward the start of Resident Evil 4 now reportedly all takes place at night, which certainly won't be disturbing at all. Fanbyte reports that the reveal of the game is said to be in early 2022, which brings us to what Capcom has officially done this week. For starters, the Japanese company expanded their web portal, which you can use to access various historical records for past Resident Evil games. Well, all games leading up to 4 at least. It's all a pretty neat package for longtime series fans, but that's not all. Capcom is utilizing the infamous countdown clock, which ends at 12:01 a.m. Monday morning Eastern Standard Time. What does this all mean? Well, it could just be another page added to the RE history portal. Or perhaps we'll finally get a good look at Resident Evil 4 Remake. I am personally extremely excited about this remake now that the team behind Resident Evil 2 Remake is taking the lead, so fingers crossed that this game really pans out. Last week we reported on the Nintendo Switch's fantastic sales milestones. But it wasn't long ago when Nintendo was struggling to find footing for its new home console, the Wii U. While the console didn't achieve commercial success, the console's game library was nonetheless excellent. Nearly 10 years after initial release, Nintendo has announced that they will discontinue purchases made through not only the Wii U's eShop, but also that of the 3DS family of handhelds. As of late March 2023, users will no longer be able to buy a game on those systems' respective eShops. On May 23, 2022, users will no longer be able to add funds via a credit card, and on August 29, 2022, users will no longer be able to use Nintendo eShop cards to add funds to their Wii U or 3DS wallet. The PlayStation ecosystem recently went through its own drama of digital storefronts closing, and Nintendo's closing of these storefronts is yet another inflection point in the conversation over games preservation. Some have estimated close to 1,000 games will no longer be accessible once these two storefronts close down. Indeed, a conversation for another day, but we can all agree that the times, they are a-changin'. Word comes this week out of The Hollywood Reporter that Netflix and Take-Two Interactive have agreed on a deal to create a movie based on Bioshock. Even by conservative estimates, Bioshock is considered to be one of gaming's great masterpieces. Past attempts to get a Bioshock movie off the ground have failed, as fans might remember that Pirates of the Caribbean director Gore Verbinski was once attached to the project. Details are scant. We don't have a director, release window, or any actors tied to the film, only that it'll be produced by Vertigo Entertainment and Take-Two. Staying in the world of TV and film, a pair of media have gotten extensions even before their release. First up, Paramount announced on Twitter that the upcoming Paramount Plus Halo series has already been renewed for a Season 2. The first season premieres on March 24th, but Paramount has apparently seen enough interest to warrant ordering a second season. Secondly, the hit Sonic the Hedgehog film will get its sequel on April 8th this year, and Paramount has gone ahead and confirmed that the production has begun on a third Sonic film. Not only that, but actor Idris Elba will be reprising his role as Knuckles in an upcoming Paramount Plus TV series set to debut in 2023. Uncharted, Bioshock, Sonic, Mario, you name it. Hollywood is infatuated with video game IP right now, so let's all buckle up for the onslaught that's coming up. It seems like yesterday that Sony pulled Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store over what wound up being one of the biggest launch botches in the modern gaming era. 15 months after the turbulent launch, CD Projekt Red has dropped the quote-unquote next-gen console patch. Patch 1.5 contains a large number of improvements, quest and gameplay fixes, and free DLC for the PC and console versions, but it also unlocks untapped potential in the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Ray tracing, performance mode, and all the usual next-gen suspects are all present in this much-anticipated patch. The patch notes really are quite extensive, so head on over to cyberpunk.net if you want to see the full rundown. Everyone who snagged this game on sale for $10, rejoice! Your time has come. Speaking of CD Projekt Red, a new studio has been formed, and it boasts some of the Polish powerhouse's greatest former assets. The Witcher 3 game director Konrad Tomaskowicz, who also was the head of production and secondary game director on Cyberpunk 2077, has been joined by a bevy of former CDPR talent, including design, animation, and art directors. In a prepared statement, Rebel Wolves lays out their vision. Driven by the desire to build a passionate team dedicated to creating vibrant virtual worlds filled to the brim with powerful emotions and unique experiences, Konrad envisioned a new studio with a united goal of doing things differently while also putting the teams first at all times, end quote. The company's first game is said to be a AAA dark fantasy RPG built inside Unreal 5 engine. Rebel Wolves' writer Jacob Samalik added, quote, "In order to create truly great games, we won't chase trends or numbers. Our goal is clearly defined, to create memorable games, tell moving stories, and evoke visceral emotions. It's ambitious, true, and I'm glad it is. Art needs ambition. I don't want to create another game. I want to work on titles people will remember," end quote. And finally, on Tuesday this week, the official Elden Ring Twitter account reconfirmed the minimum and recommended PC specs for the upcoming open world RPG. The minimum specs have caught some gamers off guard who now find themselves with a rig which might not be up to snuff. For starters, Elden Ring asks for 12 gigs of memory as opposed to 8, but the kicker is that it requires a 3 gig version of Nvidia's GTX 1060 or a 4 gig version of AMD's RX 580. While many of you are more than prepared for whatever Elden Ring tosses at your PC, the level of hype surrounding this game is so massive that it's caused many gamers to consider whether or not they should upgrade. It won't be long now, guys. Elden Ring launches on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox consoles on February 25th. Alright guys, that's it for this episode of the Dear Listeners
Hey Micah.
Who said that?
It's me, Lego Aloy.
What the...
I know you've been thinking about buying me.
What are you doing?
Just hanging out with my tall neck compadre.
No, I mean, how are you...
Talking to you.
What?
I control you, Micah. You will buy me and my tall neck compadre.
No, get out of my head!